The phone screen blares when you've been crying for 3 hours straight. Sarah Chen learned that at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in February, sitting on the bathroom floor of her studio apartment because it was the only place her daughter Lily couldn't hear her falling apart. The power had been off since morning. ComEd didn't do payment extensions anymore, not after she'd used her last one in December. The apartment was cold, the kind that settles into your bones and makes you wonder if you'll ever feel warm again. Lily was asleep finally, after an hour of crying, her bottle half water, half formula because Sarah had been rationing it for 3 days. The empty can sat on the counter like an accusation. Sarah's thumb hovered over her phone. Her brother Marcus. He'd helped before, not happily, but he had. Sent her $40 last month when Lily needed diapers. She'd promised herself she wouldn't ask again. Promised she'd figure it out. But promises don't feed babies. She typed with shaking hands, not looking at the screen because if she looked, she might delete it. Might talk herself out of it. Might decide that pride mattered more than her daughter's empty stomach. Marcus, I'm so sorry to ask again. I need $35 for formula. Lily's almost out. I get paid Friday. I'll pay you back. Please. Her thumb trembled as she hit send. She didn't double-check the number. Didn't even look at the name at the top of the screen. Just set the phone down, pulled her knees to her chest, and waited in the dark. 5 minutes passed. Then another. The phone stayed silent. Sarah closed her eyes. Of course, he was ignoring her. She'd asked too many times. Become the sister he avoided at family gatherings, the one everyone whispered about with that particular mix of pity and judgment that made her skin crawl. Her phone buzzed. She grabbed it too fast, hope and dread mixing in her chest. I think you have the wrong number. Sarah blinked, stayed at the message. Her stomach dropped so fast she felt sick. Wrong number. She texted a stranger. Asked a complete stranger for money. Her hand started shaking harder. I'm so sorry. Please ignore. Wrong number. She locked the screen, threw the phone away from her like it was contaminated. It landed on the bath mat with a soft thud. Another failure. Another thing she'd gotten wrong. The universe's cosmic joke, making sure she knew exactly how far she'd fallen. From senior analyst at a tech firm to woman begging strangers for formula money in the middle of the night. Sarah dropped her forehead to her knees and cried the kind of tears that don't make sound, the kind that come from a place deeper than embarrassment, deeper than shame. The kind that tastes like giving up. Her phone buzzed again. She almost didn't look. What was the point? Probably the stranger telling her to lose their number. Always something cruel, because the internet had taught people that cruelty was currency. But something made her reach for it. Maybe curiosity. Maybe masochism. Maybe just the desperate hope that somewhere in this nightmare, someone would be kind. Is your baby going to be okay? Sarah stayed at the words. Read them twice. 3 times. What kind of stranger asks that? Her first instinct was suspicion. This was how scams started. How catfishing worked. Some fake consign, some manipulation, then the ask for something worse than money. But there was something about the question. The simplicity of it. No judgment. No lecture. Just, is your baby going to be okay? She typed back carefully, keeping it brief, keeping distance. We'll manage. Sorry again for bothering you. The response came faster this time. I can help. No strings. Sarah actually laughed. A bitter, hollow sound that echoed in the small bathroom. No strings. Sure, because strangers sent money to wrong number texts all the time without wanting something. Thanks, but I don't take money from strangers. She was proud of that response. Firm, dignified. The kind of thing she wished she could say to the caseworkers, the landlord, everyone who looked at her like she was a problem to be managed. Smart policy. A pause. Then, I'm Alexander. Now I'm not a stranger. Despite everything, despite the cold and the darkness and the empty formula can, Sarah smiled. Just barely. Just enough to remember what her face felt like when it wasn't crying. She shouldn't respond. Should block the number. Should delete the thread and pretend this humiliating night never happened. Instead, she found herself typing, Sarah, and even with names, you're still a stranger. Fair enough, but the offer stands. No catch, no strings, just help. Sarah sat with that for a long time. Her phone screen dimmed, went dark. She let it. Lily made a small sound in her sleep, and Sarah's chest tightened. Tomorrow morning, that bottle would need formula. Not water, not hope, real formula. Her pride had a price, and tonight she couldn't afford it. She opened her phone again, went to Venmo, hated herself a little as she typed her username and hit send. If you're serious, just $35. That's all I need. The 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. Her phone buzzed. $5,000 received from Alexander Hunt. Sarah's vision actually blurred. She blinked hard, certain she'd misread it. Opened the app with shaking hands. $5,000. Not 35. 5,000. Her breath caught in her throat. This is too much. Way too much. I only needed $35. It's already yours. No take-backs. But I can't. I don't. This is. She couldn't even form sentences. Her hands were shaking so hard she could barely type. One less thing to worry about. By formula. Pay your power bill. Breathe. Sarah didn't cry when her boyfriend left the day she told him she was pregnant. Didn't cry when her company laid her off 2 weeks before Lily was born. Didn't cry when she had to pawn her mother's engagement ring just to make rent. But this stranger, this impossible kindness from someone who didn't even know her name 10 minutes ago. This broke her. She sat on that cold bathroom floor and sobbed. Phone clutched to her chest, while $5,000 sat in her account like a hallucination she was afraid to touch. Thank you. I don't even know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just take care of Lily. Sarah froze. Read the message again. She'd never told him her daughter's name. Sarah couldn't sleep. Not because of Lily this time. Lily was sleeping peacefully, stomach finally full from the emergency formula Sarah had gotten from the 24-hour pharmacy at 2 a.m., paying with money she still couldn't believe was real. No, Sarah couldn't sleep because her brain wouldn't stop spinning. She sat cross-legged on her mattress, the only real piece of furniture in the studio besides Lily's crib, and stared at her phone like it might explain itself. $5,000. Still there. Still real. She'd checked 17 times. Transferred $200 to her checking account just to make sure it wasn't some elaborate banking error. It went through. No alerts. No fraud warnings. Just money. Real money. And he knew Lily's name. That was the part that kept circling back. She'd mentioned Lily in the original text, but only barely. Lily's almost out. That's all she'd said. And somehow this stranger, this Alexander, had picked up on it, remembered it, used it like they were already in each other's lives. It should have scared her, should have sent up every red flag. But instead, it just felt seen. Like for once, someone had actually paid attention. Sarah opened their chat thread, reread the messages, then did something she told herself she wouldn't do. She Googled him, Alexander Hunt. The results loaded slowly, her hands suddenly cold. Alexander Hunt, CEO of Helix Industries. Net worth estimated at $12.4 billion. Tech entrepreneur, venture capitalist, philanthropist. Former Navy SEAL. Age 41. Widowed 2019. No children. Sarah's stomach flipped. This wasn't just some generous stranger. This was him. The man Forbes called the ghost billionaire because he refused interviews, avoided cameras, lived like he wanted the world to forget he existed. There were only 4 photos of him online, all taken from a distance. One showed him leaving a Senate hearing, jaw tight, eyes cold. Another from a charity gala, standing at the edge of the frame like he was already planning his escape. He looked exactly like someone who carried too much grief and not enough reasons to put it down. Sarah clicked back to their messages. Why would someone like that respond to a wrong number text? Why would he send $5,000 to a woman he'd never met? What did he want? Before she could talk herself out of it, she typed, "Why did you help me? You don't even know me." The 3 dots appeared almost immediately, like he'd been waiting. Because a long time ago, someone helped me when no one else would. I never forgot it. Sarah stated that. The simplicity of it, the honesty, and because no baby should ever go hungry while their mother tries to hold the world together alone. Her throat closed. She set the phone down because if she kept reading, she'd start crying again, and she was so tired of crying. But the phone buzzed one more time. "Get some sleep, Sarah. Tomorrow will be better than today." She wanted to argue. Wanted to say that tomorrow would probably be just as hard, that money didn't fix everything, that she was still broke and alone and scared. But she was also warm, and Lily was fed, and for tonight, that was enough. Sarah fell asleep at 3:47 a.m. with her phone still in her hand and the strange, unfamiliar feeling that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't as alone as she thought. Morning came too early. It always did. Lily woke at 6:15 demanding food, attention, and chaos in the cheerful, relentless way only toddlers could manage. Sarah fed her, changed her, played blocks for 30 minutes while her own stomach growled and her coffee went cold. By 8 a.m., when Lily finally went down for her morning nap, Sarah allowed herself to think about it. The money, the stranger, the impossible night that still felt like something she'd dreamed. She made herself breakfast. Actual breakfast. Eggs and toast, not the usual instant oatmeal she'd been stretching for weeks. She sat at her tiny kitchen table, the one that wobbled and had a water stain from a leak she couldn't afford to fix, and opened her banking app one more time. Still there. She paid her power bill, $284. The relief was physical, a weight lifting from her chest she hadn't realized she'd been carrying. Then rent, $950. 2 weeks late, with a $50 late fee that made her jaw clench. But now paid. Now done. Formula. She ordered 6 cans from Target. The good kind. The kind she'd always wanted to give Lily but couldn't justify when the cheap stuff worked fine. Add diapers, wipes, that cream for Lily's rash that cost twice as much as the generic but actually worked. Total $287. She stopped there, sat back, did math in her head. She'd spent $1,621, which left $3,379. More money than she'd had in her account in 18 months. Sarah put her head in her hands. This wasn't supposed to happen. Strangers didn't save you. Life didn't work like this. There was always a catch. Always something that came back to bite you when you least expected it. Her phone buzzed. "How's Lily this morning?" Sarah blinked, stayed at the message. He was checking in. Like this was normal. Like they were friends. "She's good. Federation happy. Currently napping and drooling on her favorite blanket. That's the best kind of napping." Despite herself, Sarah smiled. "Thank you. For last night. For the money. For not being a creep or a scam or whatever I thought you might be. You're welcome. And for the record, I'm definitely not a creep." That's exactly what a creep would say. Fair point. There was a pause. Sarah watched the 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. "Can I ask you something?" Her stomach tightened. Here it was. The catch. The thing he wanted in return. "Sure. What's your situation?" "I don't mean to pry, but how did you end up texting a stranger for?" "Formula money." Sarah closed her eyes. This was the part she hated. The explaining. The pity. The judgment disguised as concern. But he'd asked. And somehow she wanted to tell him. Long story. I've got time. So she told him. Not everything. Not the worst parts. But enough. Told him about the tech job she loved, the promotion she was working toward. About finding out she was pregnant at 28 and being happy about it, even though her boyfriend wasn't. About him leaving before Lily was even born, signing away his parental rights like she was a problem he could file away. Told him about going back to work after 12 weeks, about pumping in the bathroom because there was no mother's room, about getting laid off when the company restructured and her position was redundant. Told him about the applications she'd sent out. Hundreds. The interview she'd bombed because she couldn't afford childcare and had to bring Lily, who screamed the entire time. About burning through her savings in 4 months. About selling everything that wasn't essential. About the slow, humiliating slide into poverty she never thought would happen to someone like her. Someone with a degree, with experience, with a plan. "I'm not lazy," she typed, hands shaking slightly. "I'm not a drug addict or a scammer or whatever people think when they see a single mom on assistance. I'm just stuck. And no one tells you how hard it is to get unstuck when you're alone." She sent it before she could delete it, before she could soften it or make it more palatable. The 3 dots appeared immediately. "I know you're not lazy, and anyone who thinks that doesn't deserve your time. Do you work now?" "Not officially. I do freelance data analysis when I can. $15 to $20 an hour. Whenever Lily's asleep. Which isn't often. What did you do before?" Specifically, senior data analyst, specializing in predictive modeling and risk assessment. Mostly for financial clients. "You were in fintech." "Yeah, until I wasn't." There was a longer pause this time. Sarah watched the dots appear and disappear 3 times. She was about to set the phone down when it buzzed. Would you consider coming back to it? Her heart stopped. What do you mean? I mean I'm offering you a job. If you want it. Sarah stood up so fast she knocked her chair over. It clattered against the floor. Lily stirred in her crib but didn't wake. You're offering me a job? Yes. Why? Because you're qualified. Because I trust people who ask for $35 when they need it instead of bleeding me dry. And because my company needs someone who sees patterns other people miss. Sarah's hands were shaking again. This is insane. Probably. You don't even know me. I know enough. What if I'm terrible at it? Then we part ways. No hard feelings. But I don't think you will be. Sarah paced the small kitchen, phone gripped tight. This didn't happen. Jobs didn't fall from the sky because you texted the wrong number. What kind of job? Data analyst. Internal audit focus. You'd work remotely. Set your own hours. Bring Lily if you need to come into the office. Pay is $95,000 plus benefits. Sarah actually laughed. A high, slightly hysterical sound. $95,000. More than double what she'd made at her last job. This is a joke. It's not. Then it's charity. It's not that either. I need good people. You're good people. That's business. Sarah sat down hard on the floor, back against the cabinet. Lily made a soft sound from the crib, and Sarah turned to look at her. Her daughter. The reason she was here. The reason she texted that wrong number in the first place. Can I think about it? Take all the time you need, but not too long. The position starts Monday. Monday. 4 days away. Sarah closed her eyes. Okay. Okay, you'll think about it, or okay, you'll take it. I'll take it. She sent it before fear could change her mind. Good. My assistant will email you today with onboarding details. Alexander? Yeah. Why are you really doing this? The dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. When the message came, it was simple. Because I wish someone had done it for me. Friday morning, Sarah stood outside the Helix Industries tower at 8:47 a.m., Lily strapped to her chest in the carrier, a diaper bag that had seen better days slung over her shoulder. The building was glass and steel, the kind that reflected clouds and looked like it cost more per square foot than her entire yearly rent. She'd passed it dozens of times on the bus. Never once thought she'd walk inside. She almost didn't. Almost turned around, went home, texted Alexander some excuse about this being too much too fast. But Lily grabbed a fistful of her shirt and made a happy sound, and Sarah remembered. She wasn't just doing this for herself anymore. The lobby was warm. That was the first thing she noticed. Warm and bright and full of people who looked like they belonged in a place like this. Tailored suits, confident strides, AirPods and leather bags, and the kind of purposeful energy that came from knowing exactly where you were going. Sarah felt like an imposter in her Target blazer and the only pair of dress pants that still fit. She walked to the reception desk, heart hammering. Hi, I'm Sarah Chen. I'm supposed to. I have an appointment. Ms. Chen. The receptionist smiled like she'd been expecting her. Mr. Hunt's assistant is waiting for you. 37th floor. The receptionist handed her a visitor badge and gestured to the elevators. Sarah took it with numb fingers. This was real. This was actually happening. The elevator ride felt both endless and too fast. Other people got on, got off, made small talk. Sarah stood in the corner, hand protectively over Lily's head, trying not to look as terrified as she felt. The doors opened on the 37th floor. A woman in her late 40s, sharp suit, tablet in hand, was waiting. Sarah. Yes. I'm Jennifer Park, Mr. Hunt's executive assistant. Welcome to Helix. She smiled warmly, then looked at Lily. And you must be the famous Lily. Famous, like Alexander had talked about them. Sarah followed Jennifer through glass corridors, past conference rooms and offices that looked like they'd been designed by someone who believed workspaces should feel like art galleries. We've set up a space for you, Jennifer said, stopping at an office. Not a cubicle. An actual office with a door and a window. And right next door. She opened the connecting door. It was a nursery. A real nursery. Crib, changing table, toys, soft lighting. Everything. Sarah's throat closed. Mr. Hunt thought you might be more comfortable if Lily was close, Jennifer said gently. There's a daycare on the 10th floor too, if you'd prefer. But this is yours. Your space. Sarah couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. I'll give you a few minutes to settle in, Jennifer said. Then we'll do the tour and paperwork. She left quietly. Sarah stood in the doorway between the office and the nursery, Lily babbling happily against her chest, and felt something crack open inside her. This wasn't charity. This was respect. This was someone seeing her not as a problem to be solved, but as a person who deserved a chance. She carefully set Lily down in the crib. Her daughter immediately grabbed a stuffed elephant, squealing with delight. Sarah sat in the office chair. It was ergonomic, expensive, the kind that probably cost more than her couch. She put her hands on the desk, felt the solid weight of it. Real. This was real. Her computer was already set up, logged in, a welcome message on the screen. Welcome to Helix, Sarah. We're glad you're here. She touched the screen like she could hold the words. Then she opened the first file and started working. By noon, Sarah had reviewed 3 audit reports, flagged 2 discrepancies in vendor payments, and reorganized the file structure because the existing one made her teeth hurt. She hadn't heard from Alexander, hadn't seen him. Part of her was relieved. Part of her wanted to thank him. But mostly she was just focused on the work, on proving she belonged here. Jennifer brought lunch. Not cafeteria food. Real food. Salad and grilled chicken and fruit that tasted like someone actually cared about quality. You didn't have to do this, Sarah said. Mr. Hunt's orders. He said you probably wouldn't take a lunch break otherwise. Sarah smiled despite herself. He's not wrong. He's rarely wrong about people. Jennifer paused. He spoke highly of you. He doesn't even know me. He knows enough. He wouldn't have hired you otherwise. After Jennifer left, Sarah checked on Lily. Still napping, the stuffed elephant clutched like a lifeline. Sarah took a photo, almost texted it to someone, then realized she didn't have anyone to send it to. Except, she opened the chat with Alexander. First day. Lily loves the nursery. I found 2 billing errors in your Q3 reports. Thank you for this. The response came 10 minutes later. Told you you'd be good at this. How did you know I'd find those? Because you see things other people miss. It's a gift. Sarah stated that. A gift. When was the last time someone called anything about her a gift instead of a burden? Are you in the building? 40th floor. Meetings all day. Can I see you? There was a pause, long enough that Sarah regretted asking. Then, Conference room C 6 p.m. If you're still here, I'll be here. She worked straight through the afternoon. Lily woke up, played, had a bottle, played some more. Sarah would glance over every few minutes, watching her daughter explore the space, and feel something loosen in her chest. Safe. They were safe here. At 5:55 p.m., she changed Lily's diaper, straightened her own shirt, and took the elevator up 3 floors. Conference room C was at the end of a quiet hallway. The door was open. Alexander Hunt stood at the window, back to her, hands in his pockets. He wore a suit but no tie, sleeves rolled to his elbows. He looked exactly like his photos but also nothing like them. More real, more human. "Hi," Sarah said quietly. He turned, and for a second, they just looked at each other. He was taller than she expected. Dark hair starting to gray at the temples. Lines around his eyes that came from too much stress and not enough sleep. But his eyes were kind. Tired, but kind. "Sarah." "Alexander." "You can call me Alex. Everyone does." "Okay, Alex." He smiled slightly. "How was your first day?" "Overwhelming. Amazing. Terrifying. All of it." "That sounds about right." Lily made a sound, and Alex's expression softened. "Can I?" Sarah hesitated, then nodded. Alex held out his arms. Lily went to him without fear, grabbing his collar, babbling something that might have been hello or might have been gibberish. "Hey, Lily." His voice was gentle. "I've heard a lot about you." Lily patted his face. Alex laughed, and Sarah felt something in her chest twist. "Thank you," she said, "for all of this. I don't know how to." "You don't have to thank me." "Yes, I do. You changed my life." Alex looked at her, really looked at her. "You changed your own life. You asked for help. You took the chance. You showed up. That's all you." "I only asked for $35. And I gave you what you actually needed. There's a difference." Sarah swallowed hard. "What do you want from me?" "Nothing. People don't do things like this for nothing." Alex was quiet for a long moment. Lily was playing with his watch now, fascinated by the shine of it. "5 years ago," he said quietly, "my wife died. Car accident. We were supposed to have kids, build a life. We had plans." He looked down at Lily. She would have loved being a mother, would have been incredible at it. "And when I saw your text, saw you fighting for your daughter in the middle of the night, I just thought," his voice caught, "I thought someone should make sure you didn't have to fight alone." Sarah's vision blurred. "I'm sorry about your wife." "Me too." He looked up. "But I'm not sorry about meeting you. Oh, Lily, you remind me there are still good things worth fighting for." They stood there in the quiet conference room, this billionaire and this single mother, while a toddler played with a watch that probably cost more than Sarah's car. "Can I ask you something?" Sarah said. "Anything." "What happens if this doesn't work out? The job. What if I fail?" Alex shook his head. "You won't. But if I do, then we figure it out. Together. That's what people do. Together." Sarah hadn't had together in so long she'd forgotten what it felt like. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay." Lily yawned, a huge, dramatic thing that made them both smile. "I should get her home," Sarah said. Let me drive you. You don't have to. I know, but I want to. And because Sarah was tired of saying no to help, because she was tired of carrying everything alone, she nodded. Okay. They took Alex's car. Not a flashy sports car like she expected. A normal SUV. Safe. Practical. The kind of car Dad would drive. Lily fell asleep in the car seat before they even left the parking garage. They drove in comfortable silence. Sarah watched the city pass by outside the window, the lights blurring together. Can I ask you something now? Alex said. Fair's fair. What do you want? Long term. If you could have anything. Sarah thought about it. Really thought. Stability, she said finally. I want to know that tomorrow won't be a disaster. That Lily will have what she needs. That I won't have to choose between electricity and formula. That's it. That's all I want. That's not all, Alex said gently. That's survival. What do you want beyond that? No one had ever asked her that before. I want to matter, Sarah whispered. I want to be good at something again. I want Lily to be proud of me when she's old enough to understand what I did to get us here. Alex nodded. You will be. You already are. They pulled up outside her building. Sarah unbuckled Lily carefully, trying not to wake her. Sarah. She turned. You're going to be okay. Both of you. I promise. And somehow, coming from him, she believed it. Thank you, Alex. Anytime. She got out of the car, Lily warm and heavy in her arms, and watched him drive away. Then she went inside, turned on the lights that worked now, and put her daughter to bed in the crib that wasn't falling apart. And for the first time in 18 months, Sarah Chen went to sleep believing tomorrow might actually be better. By her third week at Helix, Sarah had developed a routine. Wake at 6 o'clock. Feed Lily. Get them both dressed. Catch the 7:30 bus because she still didn't have a car. Arrive at the office by 8:15. Work until Lily needed her. Then work some more. She was good at it. Better than good. The patterns in the data spoke to her in a language she'd forgotten she knew. She found discrepancies others missed, reorganized systems that had been inefficient for years, made suggestions that actually got implemented. By Friday of week 3, she had a team meeting. Sarah, Michael Chen, the CFO, said, "These audit improvements you proposed, they're going to save us about $300,000 annually." Sarah blinked. "I was just cleaning up redundancies." "Well, your cleaning up is the best thing that's happened to this department in 2 years. After the meeting, Jennifer found her. "Mr. Hunt would like to see you. His office, when you have time." Sarah's stomach flipped. "Is something wrong?" "Quite the opposite." Alex's office was on the 40th floor, corner suite, windows overlooking the entire city. But he wasn't at his desk. He was on the floor, playing blocks with Lily, who'd apparently escaped from the nursery. "She's very determined," Alex said without looking up. "Reminds me of someone." "Sorry, she must have." "Don't apologize. She's good company." He handed Lily another block. "I heard about the audit improvements." "Michael told you." "Michael told everyone. You just saved the company a significant amount of money." Sarah shifted her weight. "I was just doing my job." "You were doing it well." He stood, brushing off his pants. Lily protested but got distracted by the blocks. I'm giving you a raise. $115,000. Sarah's breath caught. What? You earned it. Alex, it's been 3 weeks. And in 3 weeks, you've proven you're worth twice what I'm paying you. So take the raise. Buy Lily something nice. Get yourself a car that doesn't break down. How did you know my car breaks down? Because you take the bus every morning. And I know you have a car because you mentioned selling almost everything except necessities. He saw too much, paid too much attention. Thank you, she said quietly. You keep thanking me. I'm the one who should be thanking you. For what? Alex looked at Lily, then back at Sarah. For reminding me what I'd built this company for. It wasn't for the money. It was to help people. I'd forgotten that. Something passed between them then. A look that lasted a second too long. Understanding mixed with something else. Something neither of them was ready to name. I should get back to work, Sarah said, breaking the moment. Sarah. She turned. You're doing great. I want you to know that. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. She nodded, throat tight, and took Lily back to the nursery. But she felt it. The shift. The change. This wasn't just a job anymore. This was something else. Something that scared her and pulled her in at the same time. That night, her phone buzzed. Are you free Saturday? Her heart jumped. Define free. Not working. Available. Interested in leaving the apartment. What did you have in mind? Farmer's market. Fresh air. Good food. Bring Lily. No pressure. Sarah stayed at the message. This wasn't a work thing. This was something else. Is this a date? Only if you want it to be. Otherwise it's just two friends getting coffee. And what if I want it to be? The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then it's a date. Sarah set her phone down, heart racing. She was going on a date. With a billionaire. With the man who'd saved her life. With someone who saw her as more than just a charity case or a single mom or a problem to be solved. He saw her as Sarah. And she hadn't been just Sarah in a very long time. Okay. It's a date. Saturday was the first warm day of spring. Sarah dressed carefully, not too fancy but nice, and put Lily in the yellow sundress that made her look like sunshine personified. Alex picked them up at 10 o'clock sharp. The farmer's market was crowded, loud, full of life. They walked slowly, Lily in her stroller, stopping at stands that sold honey and bread and vegetables that looked like art. Alex bought Lily a wooden toy. Bought Sarah flowers she protested and he insisted on. Bought them both fresh lemonade that tasted like summer should. They talked, really talked, about everything and nothing. About how Sarah used to love hiking before Lily. About how Alex used to paint before his wife died. About dreams they'd put on hold and hopes they were learning to hold again. Can I tell you something? Alex said as they sat on a bench, watching Lily toddle after pigeons. Always. I didn't just offer you that job because you were qualified. Sarah's heart beat faster. No. I offered it because when I read your text that night, when you asked for $35 for formula, I saw someone who refused to give up, who fought for what mattered. And I thought, he looked at her, I thought I wanted that kind of person in my life. You barely knew me. I knew enough. Sarah's hand was on the bench between them. Alex's was inches away. She watched him move it closer, slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His fingers brushed hers, then held them. "Is this okay?" he asked quietly. She nodded. "Yeah, this is okay." They sat like that, hands linked, watching Lily play, while the city moved around them, and for once the world felt like it might be kind. "Sarah." "Yeah, I'm really glad you texted the wrong number." She laughed, squeezing his hand. "Me too. Even if it was the most embarrassing moment of my life. Especially because of that." Lily came running back, grass stains on her knees, pure joy on her face. She climbed into Sarah's lap, then reached for Alex, wanting both of them. And Sarah realized this was what she'd been missing. Not money, not success. This, family. The kind you build, not the kind you're born into. "Hey, Lily," Alex said, bouncing her on his knee. "What do you think? Should I take your mom on another date?" Lily clapped. "That's a yes," Sarah said. "Good." Alex smiled at her, and Sarah saw it. The future, blurry and uncertain, but there. Real. Possible. "What are you thinking?" Alex asked. "I'm thinking I texted the wrong number," Sarah said, "and somehow found exactly the right person." 6 months later, Sarah stood in the kitchen of the house she'd just bought. Not rented, bought. A real house with a backyard where Lily could play and rooms for both of them and space to breathe. Alex had helped with the down payment. She tried to refuse, but he'd given her that look, the one that said he wasn't asking, and she'd learned to pick her battles. Lily ran through the living room, chasing the dog they'd adopted last month. A golden retriever named Buddy who thought he was a lapdog. Sarah's phone buzzed. "Turn on the news. Channel 7. She grabbed the remote, frowning. Turned it on. Helix Industries CEO Alexander Hunt announced today a new initiative aimed at helping single parents re-enter the workforce. The program will provide childcare, flexible hours, and support systems for parents who struggle to find employment while raising children alone. Hunt says the program was inspired by someone close to him who showed him the gaps in the current system. The camera cut to Alex, standing at a podium, looking uncomfortable but determined. "Too many talented people fall through the cracks because our systems aren't designed for their reality," he said. "This program is about changing that, about giving people a chance, not charity. A chance." Sarah's vision blurred. He'd done this, built this, because of her. Her phone rang. "Did you see it?" Alex asked. "You built a program." "We built a program. It was your idea. I just had the resources." "Alex." The first cohort starts next month. 50 parents. 50 kids who will have what Lily has now. Because of you. Sarah sat down hard. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll help me run it." "What?" "I need a director. Someone who understands what it's like. Someone who won't let bureaucracy get in the way of actually helping people. Someone I trust." "You're offering me another job." "I'm offering you a purpose, if you want it." Sarah looked at Lily, happy and safe and loved. Looked at the house they'd helped her buy, the life they'd helped her build. "Yes," she said, "I want it." "Good, because I also wanted to ask you something else." "What?" "Dinner. Tonight. Just us. Jennifer's watching Lily." Sarah smiled. That sounds suspiciously like a date. It's definitely a date. I'm hoping it's the date that comes before an important conversation. Her heart stopped. Important how? The kind where I tell you I'm in love with you and have been since the moment you asked me for $35 and then refused to take $5,000. Sarah couldn't breathe. Alex, you don't have to say anything now. Just meet me for dinner. We'll talk. Okay. Okay. It's a date. That night, Sarah wore the dress she'd bought for Lily's second birthday party. Navy blue, simple, the kind that made her feel like herself but better. Alex picked her up at 7 o'clock. Not in the SUV. In something smaller, sleeker, that smelled like leather and possibility. They went to a quiet restaurant. No paparazzi. No cameras. Just them. Over wine and pasta, Alex told her things he'd never told anyone. About his wife. About the guilt. About thinking he'd never feel anything again. And then, he said, "You texted me by mistake. Asked for $35. And I felt something. I don't know what. Purpose, maybe. Or just connection. Like the universe was saying, pay attention, this matters." I thought you were going to say I was crazy for texting strangers. I thought I was crazy for responding, but I'm glad I did. He reached across the table, took her hand. Sarah, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know if this makes sense, but I know I love you, and I love Lily. And I want to build something real with you. If you'll let me. Sarah's eyes filled. I love you too. I have for months. I was just too scared to say it. Scared of what? That it wasn't real. That I was just grateful. That you'd realize I'm just a mess who texted the wrong number. Alex shook his head. You're not a mess. You're the strongest person I've ever met. And you didn't text the wrong number. You texted exactly who you were supposed to. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Sarah's breath caught. I'm not asking you to marry me, Alex said quickly. Not yet. I know it's too soon. But this, he opened the box. A simple silver ring, delicate, beautiful. This is a promise that I'm in this, that I'm not going anywhere, that you and Lily are my family now. Sarah couldn't speak, could barely see through her tears. Will you wear it? Alex asked. She nodded, and he slipped it onto her right hand. They sat there, hands linked across the table, while the restaurant buzzed around them, and Sarah felt, for the first time in her life, completely and utterly whole. 1 year later, almost to the day, Sarah stood in front of a small gathering in Alex's backyard. Lily, now almost 3, was the flower girl, taking her job very seriously as she scattered petals with intense concentration. Sarah wore white, simple, elegant, the kind of dress she'd never imagined she'd wear. And Alex stood at the altar, looking at her like she'd hung the moon. The ceremony was short, intimate, just family and friends who mattered. When they said their vows, Sarah's voice shook. 2 years ago, I texted the wrong number asking for $35, and you gave me everything. Not money, not success, but belief. You believed in me when I'd stopped believing in myself. You saw me not as a charity case, but as someone worth knowing, worth loving. You gave me a life I didn't think I deserved. And I promised to spend the rest of mine showing you that I do. That we do. Thank you for answering. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for loving us. Alex's voice was steady, but his eyes were wet. Sarah, you saved me. You and Lily. You reminded me why I built everything I have. Not for wealth. For purpose. For connection. For this. I promise to love you and Lily with everything I am. I promise to build a life that matters with you. And I promise that no matter what happens, you'll never have to ask for help alone again. We're family. Forever. They kissed while Lily cheered and the small crowd applauded, and somewhere in the universe, the algorithm that routes wrong number texts smiled. That night, after everyone left, after Lily was in bed, Sarah and Alex sat on the back porch under the stars. Can you believe this? Sarah asked. That 2 years ago I was sitting on my bathroom floor crying, and now, she gestured to the house, the ring, the life they'd built. I believe it, Alex said, because you fought for it. We fought for it. Do you ever think about what would have happened if I'd typed the right number? All the time, and I'm grateful you didn't. Sarah leaned into him. Me too. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars, while inside their daughter slept safely, and somewhere across the city, another single parent was struggling, hoping, fighting. And tomorrow, because of the program Sarah and Alex had built, 50 more families would get their chance. Because one wrong number changed everything. Not just for Sarah and Lily, but for everyone who came after. Thank you for staying with us through Sarah and Alex's journey. If their story moved you, please subscribe to this channel. Share it with someone who needs to know that sometimes the wrong turn leads to exactly the right place. Comment below where you're watching from, and remember, your breakthrough might be one text away. The universe is always listening. Sometimes it just uses the wrong number.